I'm Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's News Update. 3 Israeli soldiers on Thursday accidentally entered the West Bank city of Nablus. They were taken into protective custody by Palestinian security forces, who later returned them to Israel. Details are still unclear, and an IDF spokesperson said that the incident is under investigation. The Jerusalem Post reports that chief Palestinian negotiator Saeb Erekat said seeking statehood at the United Nations is not a unilateral step and does not cancel the peace process. Erekat added that the United States and the European Union should support the diplomatic move, the goals of which he said would be to obtain a draft resolution signed by 150 nations in support of a two-state solution based on 1967 lines. Erekat's comments on Thursday follow Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas declaring on Tuesday that he was determined to lead the, quote, battle for recognition of a Palestinian state at the UN General Assembly later this month. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's spokesman Mark Regev responded to Erekat's comments on Thursday by saying it would be a mistake and, quote, a blow to the peace process for the PA to take the statehood issue to the UN General Assembly. Regev said, "We hope this does not happen. The Palestinians committed themselves to resolving all outstanding issues in negotiations, and such a unilateral action would be viewed as a violation." Earlier this week, Israel eased its ban on goods from Gaza in order to allow the United Nations World Food Program, or WFP, to transport 1.2 million energy bars to the West Bank. The bars, which are produced in a factory in Gaza, will help feed 75,000 Palestinian school children, spread across 300 West Bank schools. WFP spokeswoman Anna Troll-Lindgren said that many of the children do not eat breakfast before coming to school, and that the bars are fortified with iron and protein to combat anemia and to help the children concentrate in class. It is the second time this year that Israel has allowed the Gaza bars to be sent to the West Bank. A news website in Bulgaria is claiming that Bulgarian police have arrested a man suspected of being the accomplice in the terror attack in Burgas that killed 5 Israeli tourists and their Bulgarian bus driver in July. The website cites their own insider sources from the border police and say that the man bears a close resemblance to the computer-generated image that was released by the Bulgarian authorities last month, and that the arrest occurred after a long chase in the woods near the border with Turkey. Bulgaria's Minister of the Interior has denied any such arrest at this time. The JTA reports that a resolution urging the return or compensation of property seized from Jews during the Nazi and Communist eras was passed by the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee. The resolution passed on Wednesday calls on European countries such as Poland, Romania, Latvia, Slovenia, and Croatia to establish a, quote, simple, transparent, and timely process for the return or compensation of seized property. The resolution was co-sponsored by Republican Senator Bill Nelson and Democratic Senators Ben Cardin and Sherrod Brown. The National Council of Jewish Women Thursday welcomed the decision of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court to send the state's new voter ID registration law back to the lower court for further consideration. NCJW CEO Nancy Kaufman said the Supreme Court's action gives voters in Pennsylvania another chance to avoid being denied the right to vote in November by, quote, an unreasonable new voter ID law. Kaufman said laws that require government-issued photo identification impose an undue burden on the poor, the elderly, primarily women, the young, and minority voters who often do not have access to the documentation legally required in order to obtain a voter ID. The NCJW has worked diligently against the ID law in Pennsylvania as well as in other states, saying it undermines the basic right to vote for thousands of individuals and calls for it to be overturned. Masa Israel Journey announced on Thursday that its Teaching Fellows program has more than doubled since last year. The program, which places Jewish North American recent college graduates as volunteer teachers' aides in Israel, had 68 participants in the program's pilot academic year of 2011-2012. This year's program for the academic year of 2012-2013 has 170 participants. The fellows chosen for the program teach English for a minimum of 20 hours a week for 10 months in Israeli schools located in low-income communities. They also volunteer there. Israel Teaching Fellows is a joint venture of the Government of Israel and the Jewish Agency for Israel, together with Israel's Ministry of Education, and is meant to address Israel's educational achievement gap and the widespread underperformance of youth in low-income communities. And that's Shalom TV's News Update. I'm Teisha Bader.